Jack Lavin, and I'm part of a business, Kaleidoscope Gardens. Um, we have several locations right here. This is part of the Forest Hill Community Garden Program through the UW Extension Milwaukee Urban Agriculture Program. Little history of the land, my cousin started out here about 2014, and she created a business which still exists and now I am now a part of, called Kaleidoscope Gardens. And since that time, she had primarily just been field growing and also renting a hoop house and selling at just one local farmer's market, which has been great because it's very low stress and pressure. Yeah. About 3 or 4 years ago, I really started to get involved more, and we decided to just put on hold for a moment the market selling and just work on establishing a really comfortable space to be in. We've also found that the more comfortable the space, the more helpers you get. And so that's been really important. You know, moms, dads, and friends, if they have to be trucking through some weeds, everyone's got something to do, you know. But as soon as I start doing this, and I joke, I say, oh, I have nappable pathways. What is a nappable? I say, you can nap anywhere in this garden. And so now they come, you know. But so yeah, the land itself and the business is in a transitional phase. Yeah. We will return next year to the local farmers market with produce. We've always been selling plants at the beginning of the season. Those we all start in our hoop house, and that provides a little source of income. But for both my cousin and I, this is way more a benefit to ourselves. But yeah, to try to be of service to the community and also the planet. And so a lot of my methods, or these methods that we're applying now, are earth-based. And so when I think, okay, is the earth going to be happy that a half acre of wood chips is not going to a landfill? I think yes, the earth says good job, you know? It makes it harder for me to garden, you know, at least in the short term. But not relying upon this as a primary source of income allows us to value other things, to value the earth first, to value a garden space that we can be in. On this land, probably about 4 years ago, had about 2 to 3 feet of wood chips dumped over the whole land. And at this point now there's 7 sections to the land. We have a little wash tub shelter area. I have a berry patch that's several years old now. I have sweet potatoes and some sections that are devoted to attracting beneficial insects and providing a habitat for some of the small wildlife in the area. Have some asparagus patches going and several areas that are still in the transformative phase of just creating a planting bed. The plot here is, I think, in between 1/4 and a half acre. And some of the successful things that have been grown here this year, we had a great spring, a lot of water. So the strawberries, snap peas, beets, green onions, carrots have been doing really well. The only real challenge I've had this year is, well, 2. Eggplants. I planted too early, and I think the flea beetles got at them and just demolished the plants fully. And then the zucchini. Had a nice harvest for a while, and then a beetle got them. Tomatoes have been really good this year, and it's been an amazing year for peppers. This is the Forest Hill Community Garden, and it's it's in the city of Oak Creek, part of the Oak Creek County Parks, I believe. But on the broader area of this land, I think the sewage district is also involved. It's pretty marshy and swampy. So there are several organizations that are involved with the management of this land, which on the one hand is really good for us because it is a marshland. We've just received a 10-year lease that we can stay here. Yeah. One of the uniquenesses of this land is we're pretty much surrounded on all sides by wilderness. And that brings some challenges, but also some major benefits. I practice a natural integrated pest management system, meaning I try to minimize or not use the pesticides or even row covers at all. And so one component of this natural program is relying upon the wildlife. Um, and so I have about 10 to 15 feet from this side is water and standing water. The positive of that is garter snakes, toads, frogs, they're all in the garden doing their work, you know. The negative of that is ticks, but mosquitoes are really bad. Um, the greatest pest issue that we have out here is not actually insects, it's the large ones. So there's a ton of deer, turkey, and rabbits. But there is quite a large, substantial family of coyotes out here, and they're keeping the turkeys down and the rabbits. The other day, a brown weasel walked through the land with a little snack in his mouth. There's a family of hawks that live nearby and some owls. And so wildlife really is, we have found, an essential ingredient in seeking to be just as natural as possible, both growing, but then also addressing the pest issues. Yeah.
Okay.
I think of things as all interdependent, interrelated. And so directly addressing pest issues on the farm, one of the principles that we follow and seek to practice and have realized is successful is the healthier the plant, the less damage there tends to be. And so healthy plants really begins with a healthy ecosystem, including the soil. So this plot is in process. It is immature. It's not at a fully developed state yet. Probably will require 2 more seasons to really get everything set and running. But yes, like I mentioned, initially 2 to 3 feet of wood chips were covered on the entire land, serving several purposes. One of them was just addressing the weeds. The weed pressure, as everybody who grows in a field knows, can be quite intense. And for years, we'd been using the landscape fabric, plastic, a little bit of cardboard, wood chips on top. But about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a little extra time on my hand, a little more desire, and I said, hey, let's just do this big. And so everything is just moved by hand tools, but it did serve as a complete weed suppressant, aside from some of the willows and some other things. It created really comfortable pathways, which is important, because regardless of the pest management program we're doing, if the human is not in the garden, it's not going to be effective. And so I actually, when setting up this land, emphasize the pathways first. I want to be comfortable in them. Secondly, the wood chips have just brought in an incredible amount of fungal life, which is a great component of creating a healthy soil. Now the process has been using cover crops, manures, transforming the wood chips into something that can actually really support the vegetable growth. But that's been a lot of work, and it's still several seasons away, but it is creating a really nutrient-rich planting medium for the plants. And we've been finding that since we're doing this, plants do seem to be healthier, stronger, and more resilient. But another major component of it is a mixed interplanting. So we don't do any single crop plantings in any bed. Every bed, and I only have a few set up, have flowers, flowering herbs, vegetables, and some fruit. Several perennial grasses. The list just keeps kind of expanding. But the more diversified the plants in the planting bed seems to be, that each single plant remains stronger. Diversity does seem to be one of those principles that can be applied at every level and benefits things. So in every bed, I pretty much mulch with 3 materials at different points of the year or in a succession of seasons: leaf mold, wood chips, and straw and hay. Yeah. And so I'm assuming that more is better, more diverse is better. And that lesson to me is pretty clear if we look to nature. And I think nature is the greatest teacher. And so that's where I look not only for inspiration, but for specific techniques. So when I walk through an old growth forest, I say, what's your fertilization program? What is your, pest management program? And so I look for specific things, or just to see what's there. And you normally find diversity. You also find a lot of organic material. An old growth forest is like walking on a pillow, That's a lot of carbon. And so I thought, okay, let's do it here. And it does seem to be working, yeah. One of our missions is to sell as clean and nutrient-rich fruit and vegetable as possible. And so we prefer not to use synthetic fertilizers or pesticides, seeking to simply grow as natural a product as we can and sell at an affordable rate. The social component of things to me is diversity. And so we have found that the more diverse a single planting bed is, the soil materials, there's wood chips, cow manure, chicken manure, biochar, all sorts of stuff. The more varied that is, the healthier the plants. The healthier the plants, we have found less of a pest issue. They're still present. And I was joking with a friend the other day that if I create a new business, it will be called Holy Produce, Holey, and the motto will be to eat holy leaves. Yeah, so a little bit of holes here and there is no big deal. For me, for some people it is, but they have their produce to eat. I have my holy produce to eat. But yeah, so the more diverse socially plants are, the more diverse fungal life, bacterial life, small rodents. I'm okay with a few moles and, mice and, yeah, my brown weasel buddy. We have found that principle of diversity, which in a certain sense is for the human, it's a good idea to have a social life, with different types of people and those things. The one pest management thing that we do use is, and it has yet to be put up, but is fencing in the whole thing, yes. That will be to address the deer, turkey, and rabbits. Yeah, because in years past, looks like a human took a bite out of tomato, or all the lettuce just gone. The turkeys have eaten pretty much all of my green bean plants this year, so I stopped planting them until just recently. I thought, well, I only see 1 turkey now. There used to be 5, so I think the coyotes did their job. So they haven't touched my new green bean plants. But, one of the things that maybe I would like to just encourage others to do is to think about, is there a relationship and are there lessons that we can learn with the human experience of health and illness, and then also agriculture, And it's a blessing that people study major invasive procedures, major tillage, surgery, and the chemists, pharmaceuticals, save lives. It is wonderful. It's a good tool to use when it's necessary. Same thing, herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, synthetic fertilizers. If they go away tomorrow, it'll be a difficult situation for us. But I think we all want to live a healthier life and move in the direction of maybe I can use, some herbs or something like that. Maybe just some counseling will be good enough. Maybe my just basic diet can support and heal me. And I think in the agricultural system, we can do the same thing. We can start moving more in that direction. You know, maybe a diverse planting space will lead to healthier plants. It slows down the harvesting method, but actually I think slowing down is probably a good thing for all of us, you know. And the ultimate goal of this land, which is years away, may never be achieved, is a closed system. Meaning, zero inputs would be amazing. No seeds, no more mulch, no more wood chips, nothing. The land produces all of it. That would be incredible, yeah. Including minimizing water needs. And I think that we can take that same goal, which sounds nice. I mean, imagine, I don't think a single farmer would say, I don't want a system that requires $0 of input. That's a good thing, you know? Now, I know it's romantic. I know that. I accept that. But I choose, and I think we would all do well, to set the ideal as our goal and go towards it. We may never get there, but we'll get pretty far. To me, nothing else makes sense. If somebody is interested in talking more and or coming here to check out the process, I am happy and open to whoever, whenever, yeah. And so people could reach me at, my email is j.artlavin, A-R-T, @gmail.com.